I'll tell you, it's not as prevalent as you think when people like, oh my God, I want to go to America. Like, you remember we were in France and they were talking about that. They're like, yeah, no, I mean, the normal French guy doesn't want to go to America. Like, that's not where they're trying to move to.
Yeah.
When I was in Spain, it was the same thing. They were like, yeah, we'd like to go to visit. We'd like to go for like a 2-3 year kind of stint maybe, but we want to come back and we want to be here in Spain. Like, they like their country the same way we like America.
What up? It's Three Brothers No Sense. I am Tavares Ferguson, aka Ferg. Join my co-host, Miami finest, Razi and Buff. What's going on, fellas?
Man, good trip, great trip, good time seeing y'all again, man. Two things on my mind. One, America does not negotiate with terrorists unless you're the colonial pipeline and some terrorists. Some hackers hack your system and you pay them $5 million. The whole East Coast was without gas. While we was in Florida partying, I get back home and every gas station is either out of gas or got a line as long as Popeyes and Chick-fil-A combined. So that was crazy. Hopefully by the time this podcast drops tomorrow, everything is back to normal. But that was kind of wild, man. No gas whatsoever. And also, did you brothers know that a doll can change the world? Have you seen this woke Barbie commercial? Barbie is woke now. So they're making Barbie dolls with them in wheelchairs, wearing glasses, mixed kid Barbies and all that kind of stuff. And they just feel like if they teach kids to be more empathetic and inclusive, that Barbie can change the world. So Barbie is woke now, man.
They've been doing that for a while though, right? Because they started doing the different body types a while ago, maybe like 10 years ago on that. And they always had like a line of other type dolls, right? Like they had a black Barbie and everything like that. Now she was like she was like Barbie with dark skin.
Yes,
like
yeah, she wasn't.
It wasn't like she didn't have Africanoid features at all.
Yeah.
So that was the difference of it all. And I think there was another doll line that came out that actually was like really, really diverse, and it started kind of eating into Barbie. And I think that's how Barbie ended up having to kind of make some changes.
Yeah.
Because she's like, oh, I'm losing market share. It's about sales, bro.
I wonder how that's going to pan out. I wonder congratulations. Was that Mattel that does Barbie?
If your kid,
I think everybody has to reevaluate their stance. Things that worked for the last few generations are being challenged. Kind of back to what we were saying last episode is, yeah, that's cool, but this is how change happens. You have to go back and reevaluate. Change is scary, we get used to things being so normalized, good, bad, or indifferent. And it's funny that we even have to say that,
I agree. It's funny that they're saying Barbie can change the world, but not Barbie by herself. But the thing is, we always talk about representation matters, and it really does. And so for a kid in a wheelchair to be able to go in and see a doll,
that's dope,
or something to play with in a wheelchair, that's a huge deal for them.
Can they go too far?
I mean,
can they?
It probably can, but the thing is,
if they get transgendered Barbie,
they may. But the thing about it is, it's going to be hard to be like, okay, how do I know it's trans?
Yeah,
Barbie doesn't have any genitalia.
Well, maybe that's what they need to start doing now.
People been cross-dressing Ken since we were kids. So let's not act like, kids weren't sliding on the dresses on Ken and stuff like that. Like, my sisters would do stuff like that.
I'll take your word for it.
It happens. I mean, it's no big deal.
I believe
but,
it. I believe
but
it.
I think it's a good thing though that, you know, we're starting to see this representation in all the things. Going back to our last episode, we talked about, you know, seeing characters and stuff in movies and everything. I think this is the same thing. It's being able to go in and see yourself on the shelf instead of just you know, a line of white Barbies and a couple of black or brown Barbies down at the end, or you know, on the bottom shelf type thing. So, you know, putting them in middle shelf with right there with her and being included is a big deal. So kudos to them. You got anything else, Buff?
Nah, those only two things, man. What you got?
So I finally got a chance to got around to watch Castlevania season 4. So anybody who is on that, it's really good. It's wrapping up the whole series, and so if you like Castlevania anime, that type of thing, it's really, really good. It's a cool show. Finish that, but I wanted to talk real quick about this J Cole that people have been waiting on. Finally dropped, and it's okay. But the J Cole stands out there are probably going to be like, it's classic. That's what they usually do. It's like, oh my God, it's classic. But
they
it's
think he's
not
so
classic.
deep too. Like,
like
J Cole stands like, he's so deep you just don't get it. I'm like, yeah, he's deep like a puddle. But
right. He's not that. It's not that deep. So you know, that what was that? The line everybody, all the gamers are on now. It's like, you know, I put an M on your head, so now you Luigi's brother, and everybody's like, oh my god. I'm like, it's okay, but that's not like this super dope line that everybody's like, oh my god, you gotta go listen to it. So yeah. But, you know, along those lines, Nicki Minaj dropped her new album. She's back, and it is mid as it's mid. That's about the best I can do.
Yeah,
it's like
Queen was better. This is Beam Me Up, Scotty.
Yeah. That's about it. It's got a lot of remakes on it. You know, they did Best I Ever Had like remix. Like, that song's super old to be trying to remix that and put it on your album like it's super hot. And like, her verse wasn't even that great on it. So I'm like, y'all could have left that out. So it's a bunch of songs. I think what they did is they just threw as much as they could into the album and said, let's just hope for the best. It's got maybe 1 or 2 good songs on it. That's it. So not feeling it too much, but just want to throw those out there, man. That's all I got, Ferg. What you got, man?
You chose violence. You picking on J. Cole stands and Nicki's Barbs. So good luck. Good luck.
Wow. For me, I think I'm gonna do something I should have talked about last week. Did I tell you guys I self-diagnosed myself with COVID right before the trip?
No.
So, I want to say it might have been last Friday night. I had a sore throat. I felt like I was overheating. I had body aches, and I was sneezing and coughing. And so Friday night, I couldn't sleep. This is the week before the trip. I was pissed. Well, 2 days before the trip. I'm pissed. Like, man, I f***ed around and got COVID right before this trip. I'm like, well, I really don't. I've been vaccinated, so it's probably not COVID. So I'm trying to talk myself out of it. And then, even though when I started looking at the symptoms I had, everything was explained. Sore throat, I have acid reflux, so I get sore throats from that. Body aches, I've been working out a lot. And getting back into the gym since the pandemic hit, I think in the last, at that time, maybe 2 weeks straight. So overheating, my pre-workout or something like that, sometimes those things get your body flowing and like you can easily overheat. That's why they tell you to drink water and stuff. And the last one I said was sneezing, cough. It's allergy season. And so there was a rationale or reason behind every symptom, but it was just when I say I was panicking. So first thing, this was Thursday night. So first thing Friday morning, I went and got a COVID test because I was nervous. I was about to be pissed if I wouldn't have been able to make this trip. And for a split second, I was like, well, if I don't get tested, you can't have what you don't get tested for. So part of me almost didn't get tested. Just like, well, I'm vaccinated. The chances are very low. And if I never get tested, I can never get COVID. So
that's that Trump logic.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that lasted about 5-10 minutes. I can't be irresponsible like that, but no. I say all that to say, man, I really enjoyed Miami. We've been back a little less than a week. The three of us got together with Allison and her crew, and Tab and Z were there. And I think it was good times had by all itinerary chock full of events, from a yacht to fishing to a nice dinner and breakfast. I really enjoyed you guys. I needed that. I really, really, really needed that. So I was glad to be a part of that with you guys, and look forward to more trips like this. I mean, I think the last time I had been on a trip with the two of you guys, or the three of you guys, including Allison and Tab, because did Tab go to New Orleans with us, bro?
For after graduation?
Yeah,
she was there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but
so
Allison
I think that was the last. Allison didn't go?
No,
yes, she did.
She didn't go to that. It was like Dara, Angela, and Tab, but Allison didn't go.
Okay. Yeah, so I don't think we've all ever been on a trip outside of
Maybe
everybody didn't go to Miami.
Mardi Gras at her house, at Allison's house.
Yeah, but I'm saying like a trip. Like, we've been hanging out
outside of Mobile, yeah.
Outside of Mobile for years, bro. This is the first time we got to do something like that big with everybody. For me. And we went to New Orleans and even Atlanta for Bruce's birthday.
Oh, that was fun.
And,
oh my God.
I mean, Bruce's graduation.
That was so fun. That he was late for, by the way.
Yeah.
He was DJ Type Mike was late for his own graduation.
Yes.
Guess what else?
Ran on the field. But the thing about it is, like, I had a blast. It was cool. Even back then, I know I was broke, We were nickel and dime on those trips. And now Buff had the presidential suite.
Yeah.
We've come a long way, fellas.
Wow.
So it is, like we said, a couple episodes ago, man, like, it's crazy. That's why I wouldn't go back to the 20s. Like, those trips were fun, but like the way we did this trip is totally different. And I don't know if I could go back to those 20-year-old trips after like chartering boats and having private, that, like, it is very different how we partied versus how we partied in the 20s.
You're flexing, bro. We slept on the floor in Atlanta. Like, that's how fuck
we did sleep on the floor.
Yeah. That's
Atlanta should have been an indoor camping trip.
Yeah, man. It was great.
I forgot about that. It was like 5, probably 10 of us just stretched across the floor.
Yeah. That was wild.
Dang. That was cool. But no, that's all I have for us, bro. Razi is my goddaughter available for a joke for us today.
Nah, man, y'all got me today. Y'all got me. Yay.
He said it with his chest poked out. Okay, he's ready. Hey, he didn't just posted his thirst story yesterday, Ferg. So he feeling good. He had his aviators on and whatnot. Yeah. The sun was hitting him just right.
Him a bad bitch,
I almost sent you the heart emoji, dog.
He been working on his angles.
I have it. Taking multiple shots so you get the one that actually looks good in post. Because usually it'd be like, boom, take a picture. I don't care what it looked like, post that. So I took like 7 or 8 of them. I was like, nope, I don't like that one. I don't like that one.
Didn't you have a BS caption with it, like "I here in these streets" or something like that? Like you're not trying to thirst. Like I'm just out here. Yeah.
I think I said out and about today.
Yeah. I was like, this mother.
He must have a hot dad summer.
All good, bro. I hear you.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So, all right, I got a educational joke for y'all today. Let's see if y'all like this one. All right. So, we've been on these trips and everything like that. So, I got Ego and Super Ego walking into a bar, and the bartender looks at him and says, "Hey, I'm gonna have to see some id."
Damn it. Damn it. I knew it was going.
Please let us know if you laughed at that joke. Hit us up, 3 Brothers No Sense Facebook.
The psych majors are gonna be like, "Oh, I get it."
Just say yes or no, and we'll know what you're talking about. Yeah. Oh man.
Oh, I saw that when I giggled.
Yeah. All right. I'm still kind of, So how do you guys want to do this today? Does anybody want to take the reins and go first?
I don't mind going first, but we normally do it with you going first.
It's fine. I'm trying to share the wealth. I know my questions can sometimes cannibalize the time, so.
Hey, all right, cool. So y'all may have to ponder this answer for a moment. So we'll see how quickly you come up with an answer for this. But my question is, every now and then over the last few years, especially with the exposure of social media and everybody having a phone to record, we had Donald Sterling saying what he said about Magic Johnson several years ago. So my question to you guys is, what white celebrity would you just be devastated about if a tape surfaced or video surfaced of them using the N-word or just doing some just blatantly racist? Who would be your biggest letdown that would make you be like, dang? Because most of the time when we see it, like, no matter how well like they are, we're like, that's what happens, when the cameras, when they don't think the cameras are rolling. So, but who would like just break your heart down there? Like, oh man, not you. Come on, man.
I'll go first because for me it would be Keanu Reeves, because anybody who knows Keanu Reeves as a celebrity knows that he's supposedly like super nice to everybody. Like he knows he doesn't touch people when he takes pictures with them. Like women, he'll like put his arm around them, but won't actually touch them to take pictures and stuff like that. Like he is super respectful when he talks to people. He does things like, just gives up his seat on the bus or on the subway when other people need to sit down. Like there's so many stories of how respectful he is of people. And to hear him just be like, oh no, I'm super nice to everybody else except for niggas, I'd be crushed at that point. Like just to hear him say that or like use that in a negative tone, I'd be like,
except for niggas.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Keanu.
Keanu definitely says nigga a lot. He definitely says nigga a lot. He just looks like,
gets high. He get high in that little slow voice.
That's a tough question, Byron. I'm like, I don't know if for me, I'm not one of those guys that has a favorite, whatever. So it's just like, I don't know if I just don't look at people that highly. But my first guess would be, this is random, Will Ferrell.
Oh, that's a good one.
Will Ferrell just seems like he has such a cool spirit. Like he's always joking. Like he just wants everybody to have fun. I feel like he wholeheartedly puts his heart into his craft. Like I think his work is to make people enjoy life and laugh. Like he'll put it all on the line, and to say, think about almost like that whole Tommy Hilfiger thing where he's like, I didn't make my clothes for black people. He didn't really be saying like niggas shouldn't be wearing my clothes, but it's kind of like, I didn't make my movies for y'all niggas to be laughing. Like y'all just happen to laugh too. Like I would just be like, Step Brothers and stuff like that. Step Brothers is one of the funniest movies in the world to me, by far. Like it's just, I can watch that. Z and I have so many Step Brothers jokes, and hell, we were on the boat, and what's the first thing I said? Can we play?
Boats and hoes.
So he just seems like he's so lighthearted, and to see that dark side of him would just, I'll be very disappointed. I was just like, yeah. I know you're gonna have some deep answer, Razi. Buff, and it's gonna make me reconsider my answer.
It's not deep at all. It's not deep at all. Mine has already happened, actually. That's what made me think of this question. When we found out Hulk Hogan was using the word nigga.
Oh,
yeah.
That was like growing up as a huge wrestling fan. Like, I'm talking about getting mad at my mom when she say, that's fake, right? What you mean it's fake? It's not fake. Huge wrestling fan, and everybody loved Hulk Hogan. Like, I think I said on the show before, like when I was a kid, I think Earthquake put him in the hospital, and like they had like this address that you can write letters for him to get well. And I wrote one of them. I don't know if I ever mailed it off for real, but
he wrote back to all the white kids, just not you, Buff.
Yeah. So when that surfaced, I was like, really? So I think the WWE has forgiven him and allowed him in the Hall of Fame now or whatever. But that one,
yeah, but the fans haven't, because they booed him when he came out the last WrestleMania.
And so now it's like funny pictures of like, well, not funny, but when he was in the NWO, they got him painting the end, and like he get rid of like it's just all bad, man. And this was a dude that told us kids to say your prayers and take your vitamins and all that stuff. And it's like, damn, you meant everybody but niggas, huh? Okay, all right. So that was a big letdown, man.
So he didn't intend for you to get buff.
Right. He wasn't talking about us. So, so that gives you time, Ferg and Razi. My question was very quick. Y'all had the answers right away. But Will Ferrell, I think, is like that's the great answer right there, man. That's all I got, man.
So Buff, if discounting him since he's already done it, who do you think, as of now, that hasn't said it would just kind of like let you down and disappoint you?
Said it publicly because they said it.
So probably, because usually, when someone does that, you have to consider, am I going to continue to support whatever product they put out? And we've talked about this several times now, but like if Kevin Feige, who is head of the MCU, were to come out, I would have to go see a therapist and be like, we need to try to find the excuse for me to continue watching Marvel, or do I got to give it up? Because that would be huge.
They would bypass that. All he has to do is just come out with a dope Black Panther movie, and all is forgiven.
Yeah, we'll figure that out on the back end. Because, like Josh Whedon and WB, how they cut out Cyborg from Justice League. Like, everybody's starting to be like, oh, WB might be a little racist in how they're kind of treating everything. And now they're coming out with their whole Black Superman to try to make it better. That's their plan. Like, their PR people are bad. Like, just horrible. Like, okay, we know that people think we're racist, so let's give them a Black Superman. Not, hey, let's use the 17 other Black characters that we have that are super dope, and let's just make one of their movies. We'll just use our Superman guy and we'll just cast him as Black, but we're going to keep everything else the same. Like, and they have Black Superman, which is the worst part of it. And they still are like, nope, we're going to make Clark Kent Black. Yeah. And that's their fix.
So, and how racist is racist? Are we talking like full-fledged Trump supporter racist? Or
like, he always wears a hat, a ball cap when he comes on stage to present the new shows. Like like there's footage of him taking off his MAGA hat. Like, I got to take this off real quick.
Yeah.
Put on a regular hat.
And
we discovered some of his text messages like, damn, we got to put out another Black Panther. I mean, I guess whatever it takes to
give them niggas what they want.
Spoon feed these niggas. I mean, they did show up, so let's give them another one.
We gonna make some money off of it. Yeah, that's fine.
Who's lightweight racist? Who's racist light that we've accepted?
Wow, racist light. Come on, Razi, I know you got one. Come on.
I'm thinking.
Racist light. I feel like we've.
What white person or somebody have we boycotted? And then we forgave.
I hold grudges, so like
as a culture.
What is it, Papa John's guy? Because they still eating Papa John's, even though they know he's racist.
Yeah, that was easy for me to give up.
Was it Martha Stewart or no? It was the other one.
No, Martha Stewart been down for the cause since
Paula
forever.
Paula Deen.
Yeah. Have we?
Yeah, she is racist. Like I think, yeah. I think people have kind of. Well, she's kind of faded to the background. Like you don't hear her name much anymore. Yeah, so I don't know about forgiving her.
Paula Deen was detailed racist. Like she wanted bucks and suspenders and overalls. Barefoot, pouring lemonade and shit.
Yes, let me draw.
Like it was well beyond just saying, "Nigga." She wanted to recreate.
She had a vision. Mm-hmm. She was a visionary.
Yeah. So Lovecraft is another one that people. I don't know if they've forgiven him, but they. Like Byron, you were talking about how when they're racist, but you still got to kind of decide, do you still want to support their stuff?
Yeah.
A lot of people still kind of support Lovecraft things. And his kind of, I don't know if you want to call it universe that he created or that, he kind of structured with Cthulhu and all of that. Like Lovecraft Country is based on a lot of his stuff, but Lovecraft Country as a show is not. So we just got to make sure we understand that Lovecraft Country is based off of Lovecraft Country, which was written by somebody other than Lovecraft. I think a lot of people kind of forgot that. But I think that's just kind of looking at the time, right, that they were in. Same thing we do with what's his name? Quinn, Daniel Quinn. Is it Daniel Quinn?
Mm.
Yeah, him. Tom Sawyer and all of that. So,
and I would say he's not so much a celebrity, but his book is very popular. I think it's Robert Kiyosaki that wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yeah.
A lot of people were disappointed. Yeah, that he was like a big Trump supporter and stuff. And that was like a letdown. But people were like, "Well, you still should read his book because it's very." Informative, but like I say, he's not really a celebrity.
And were you talking about Mark Twain or Daniel Quinn?
I don't know. Both of them.
So Mark Twain wrote the Tom Sawyer.
Yeah.
But Daniel Quinn wrote romance novels, I think. Or were you talking about both?
But about both, because didn't both of them have like some racist tropes in there?
I mean, yeah.
Y'all out of my depth. Ferg has his smartphone out. So.
Daniel Quinn wrote Ishmael.
Yeah, he did.
So who am I thinking of?
It's probably Mark Twain.
No, Mark Twain definitely wrote
Tom Sawyer.
Yeah, but I don't know. Now who is this? Okay, let's keep the party.
We get out rabbit holes. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Yeah.
Razi, you're up next.
All right, I'll go. Let's see. Oh, we can keep it kind of short. So I have a friend that has a parent that was semi-abusive, not full off abusive, right? But just kind of they basically don't like their parent, right? They're still estranged or whatever, but then their parent started getting older and needed somebody to help them and support them. And they actually, let the parent move in and all this stuff, even though they didn't like them. And so my question to you guys is, would you be the bigger person? Would you be able to, let your parent move in, and support them if they had done things in the past or whatever that you guys were estranged, that you didn't like them, but do you owe it to your parent just for bringing you into this world to support them and help them when they get older, when they can't do it themselves?
Only if we've reconciled and not forgiven them. Nobody's living in my house that I feel a certain type of way about. Nobody's probably even visiting my house if I feel that strongly about them. So Only if I've forgiven them. Do we owe it to parents? I mean, that depends on how well they took care of you and how well they raised you. I don't know the details of your friend and why they had the type of relationship they did, but if they did things that you just didn't agree with or you felt were unfair, that's one thing. But if they didn't like if you were out there figuring out where you were going to get your next meal from at 12 years old, or, you know, the majority of winters you didn't have heat, the majority of summers you didn't have air conditioning, some days you didn't have lights, or you know, if you didn't get the bare necessities that children are expected to get in this day and age, then I think that's harder to forgive than as, you know, I think you were too strict on me growing up, or, you know, I felt like you should have trusted me to be able to do this and you didn't. I think those are like two different things. So it's hard to answer not knowing the specifics of your friend's situation, but I will just come back to my answer of only if I've forgiven them and we've reconciled, because I'm not going to have them living with me if I haven't fully forgiven them just because I feel like I owe it to them, because that's going to be a tense dynamic in my household. In my house, it's the one place I come for peace. You go out there, you deal with the real world, you come home, you want peace. You don't want more tension.
Okay. So how would you kind of handle them? Like they need help. They can't do it themselves or whatever. You're not going to let them in the house. Are you going to like put them in a home, or you just going to like, hey, you on your own? Like how would it work? Like, how would you kind of handle that situation of that ailing parent that's like, you like, okay, we're not on good terms for you to come in my house?
Yeah, try to find them somewhere to live and get that help that they need. Because unless I just completely hate them, you know, I'm going to do what I can to definitely help them out. Like, for me to just not give a complete F, that means I hate them. I don't deal with them whatsoever. So I don't care what happens to them. I may not want you in my house, but I may still care what happens to you. And we definitely would work on finding a solution to that.
Ferg, what about you?
So I have a couple of questions. Is this parent, does this parent like feel entitled to my help? Because, you know, I don't deal with entitlement well at all.
Now, I'm going to keep it broad, not my friend's specific situation, but to answer your question, I'd say no, they don't feel entitled, but at the same time, they need that help.
Okay.
Yeah.
And my second question, is this mom or dad?
Does it matter?
To a certain extent, not because I love one more than the other. It's just my expectations as a man. You know, like my mother, like with my mom, Greg took care of that household. Like he was the man of the house. So for one, with him passing, if he would have left her in a state where she was unable to survive, she's missing that guidance that he was giving or providing, because he had an untimely, unfortunate death, and could have really caught her off guard. But luckily, he took care of his household, where we're able to make certain things. But as a man, where you're supposed to be the leader of the household, and you had 60 something years or whatever to prepare your household, not only just for you, but, you know, for your spouse and hopefully for your kids, and taking care of that, and you drop the ball. I don't know if I'm as empathetic for you. You know, I know the pressure I put on myself as a husband and as a father to prepare my life and my family for the day when I'm not here or I'm unable to provide the same way I do. And so, you know, some assistance is great. You know, like I'm helping my father. I'm like both my dads trying to do certain things for themselves. But it's like, as a man, you should have been thinking of this. And now you're potentially taking away from my household the things I'm trying to accomplish for my family, because helping you leave me in the same situation that you're in? You know, are you draining my finances? Am I going through my savings? And all this, I've worked for 40 years to get here, and all of a sudden you're setting me back 10 years. So that's the reason that the question is different. So the answer for me is anything that disrupts my household is a no. I can't, I'm with Byron, like I can't bring that negativity in my household. My household is my castle. This is my getaway from everything. And if it's temporary, maybe like, okay, we need to move you in here for 3 months to get you on your feet, reassess, and find something that can be long-term for you. I can't sit there and be stressed out to come home, sitting in my driveway, not want to walk in my door because I know the tension between me and my dad or me and my mom is going to mess up my household. Now I'm bringing that into my wife and kids, and they're not getting the best version of me because I'm trying to help somebody else. It sounds selfish, but sometimes you have to look at self. You have to look at for me, I choose to look at the bigger picture. I can't do anything that's going to harm my mentality, and I have enough on my plate. My therapist literally telling me I can't take on anything else, you know? So now me trying to help them in this way, how does it harm my household? How does it harm my relationship? You know, am I stressed out? Am I snapping at my wife because I'm stressed out because me and my mom aren't getting along? Me and my dad aren't getting along, and she's catching the brunt of that. So, but I would try to find a way to help, but as long as it didn't take too much of me. Not saying I'm not willing to help and do whatever. This is more so like when I say take too much on me, where it becomes an additional burden, where it's causing additional stress, it's causing additional harm to my life. You know, like I said, my therapist is literally telling me, like, you need to find an escape. You need to find, they want me to reevaluate my priorities and say, hey, is there anything I can let go? So that's where I'm at in my life. And so I'm trying to make it as real world as possible. And it's like, yeah, but I just had my mom move in with me. I just had my dad move in with me. Now I got to find a bigger house to try to accommodate them and all this stuff. And it's just like, dude, didn't I just tell you not to do anything else?
And I talked about, trying to find them help. Now, it could be the type of situation to where if we're unable to find that help, that it forces me to that reconciliation I need with them to where I can let them in my house. So it could be a situation where this is the moment where we've had the talk that we've avoided for years or whatever the case may be. Or I just may find it in my heart to forgive them. Like, hey, these are possibly their last days. They really need my help. I make peace with it, but I have to make peace with it before they come in my house. Yeah, it can't be, well, look, they need our help, and I know we have our differences, but I gotta let them move in. That can't happen.
Yeah, because my fear is I've seen people do just that on some level where they feel like they put their life on hold to help others, especially parents, which is all noble and great, but they have regrets later. They didn't get a chance to do this, or they didn't get a chance to do that, and I try not to live my life with regrets. And for somebody who overthinks everything, that would drive me crazy. I'm with Buff. Like, I would want to hopefully reconcile our differences and stuff like that. And I try not to hold on to grudges, but my expectations for men as a head of their households, of the leaders supposed to be leaders of the family, I feel like that's what you work to do. That's what I work to do every day. That's why I stress myself out. I try to do those things so when the time comes, and I can't fault people for their lifestyles, but I can't necessarily be responsible for you when I'm barely responsible for myself and my wife and my kids, So, Razi, go ahead and say the noble stuff that makes us feel like shit, so.
No, actually, I'm probably worse than y'all, and this is going to be weird. I don't give a what happens to them at that point.
Wow.
Truthfully, if we're to the point where we're estranged like that, like if they were an abusive parent, they were abusive to me growing up, even if it wasn't, a rape or like beating me all day long, but like made me feel like crap all day, every day. And I couldn't wait to get out of that house. And we haven't talked for real in, 15, 20, 30 years. Or we only talk when, we're holidays or whatever, when everybody's together and it's just kind of in passing, that type of thing. And then you get sick. I am going to treat you as you are in my friend circles. Like for you guys, I look at y'all like family, right? So I'm gonna treat y'all like y'all are my family in my friend circle. And this person, that's how I look at them. That like you are, if you've abused me, we're estranged. I'm talking to you in passing like I would somebody, a coworker or something like that. Like, even though we spent so much time together before, where you are in my friend circle at that moment is how you get treated. And so if they are already outside of that circle and they come and be like, hey, I need this, this, and this, and this, this, and this, the same way I would with just a coworker or a semi-close friend, I'd be like, well, like Buff said, let's look for some ways that you can, restructure your money, and let's see if we can get you into an assisted living facility or whatever. Use Social Security, put you over there. But that's it. That's why I'm stopping. I'm not opening up my house to some random person to be like, oh yeah, come on in the house for 6 months. And like you said, Ferg, I dread coming home now, or my household's interrupted because of that. Nah, it's not like that. So for me, I'm probably way on the further end from y'all, because I'm not. If we were going to reconcile, I don't want this to be the thing that makes us reconcile.
Yeah.
And if it naturally progresses, like we going through this, like you said, Buff, and I'm trying, and you come and you're like, look, I'm sorry, I know I did some bad things to you in the past, blah 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 blah, but I've been reassessing, blah 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 blah. Let's try this. Maybe as we progress and, month, 2 months down the line, we get to the point where I'm like, okay, I can be more involved. But from the onset, nah, I'm not jumping through hoops for you. I'm sorry. It ain't like that for me. I cut people off pretty easily and move on. And so whether that's a parent or whatever, family, whatever, it's like, you do bad by me, I just keep going because I protect my peace. And I'm not going to keep forcing my way in to that parent or to that family member or to that friend if they're continually messing up my peace. I just don't have time for it.
Yeah. And I try to be open and share. So I'll use an example for me, hypothetical. So, part of the reason I moved to Houston is to get closer to this side of the family. And it's been a blessing since I moved here. So my sister's up here. I have 2 sisters up here, a couple of aunts and uncles, my biological father and my stepmother. My biological father was never really around to raise me. So one of the things I've always wanted to do as a young man is to make sure that I was a great father and my kids didn't have the disappointments I had growing up looking for that leadership or that love from my father. And so what I will always say is, because of the household I grew up in with my mom and my stepdad, I was always taught to love everybody. So I don't have any ill will towards him. When he came around, like every blue moon for Mardi Gras, or came in town, we would hang out, but it was never that. There was a love there, but there was never a relationship there, if that makes sense. And so I learned that too. Like, I'm trying, if anything, I want to have a better relationship with him. The love is there, but there's no relationship. And I think Kevin Hart was saying that on one of his documentary he had on Netflix. Like, he wanted to build a relationship with his father, but he's never done enough for me to be in that parent world, that small circle, that small respect where I look at him as a parent. And so even now, like, he comes to my house when we have certain things. We might have 5 events over the course of the year. He stays with my sister and my stepmom, my nieces, and all that stuff. They all stay in the same house, and everybody will show up, and he might come to 2 out of the 5 events. And I say that to show, like, he has an opportunity to be closer and build that relationship. Now he has a great relationship with my kids. That's great, because when they go over there, he's there. But for me, it's like that option to stay with me is not even an option. Like, it's just because we don't have that. And it's not ill will. You didn't mistreat me. You didn't do, but it's not, I can't put myself out there. I like the way my house is run. I love the dynamics of my house. Anybody that comes in could potentially, would change the dynamics of my house. And when I consider that, it's like, yeah, you didn't make the cut to even consider that. Like my mom, you all know how I feel about my mom. I would have to talk that over with my wife today about her moving in, like I would have to talk that over with Z, and she's never done anything wrong to me. It's still like I have to consider how it would affect my house. And so for me to have to consider that with her, some estranged parent that misused or abused me, like that's a long shot. Like, like I got to talk it over with the woman, outside of my kid, my wife and my kids, I love more than anything else in the world. Like, hey, I got to talk that over. You did what?
Yeah,
you beat me. You did.
It's funny. I saw a meme. It was like when guys say I gotta ask my wife, it means they saying no. They just want to blame it on the wife. And I feel like that's what it is at that point. Like I gotta talk it over with my wife. Yeah, because you ain't gonna make the cut.
Because I feel like she's part of this too. So the funny thing is, we went through this, and we're getting all off subject. Is we went through this with our premarital counseling. So that was one of the scenarios they were talking about. It was two parts. It's like husbands manage your marriage. But a good manager gets the input and knows how to deal with his team and his employees to get the best out of them. But it also it said husbands love thy wife as Christ loved the church, and wives respect your husband as the church respect to Christ or something like that. It's early, but basically it was like you have to. It's a two parts to that thing. So when I'm making my decisions, I can't be selfish about it. Like if this is going to hurt my wife, is this like if her and my mom don't have a good relationship, like I can't just because that's my mom, I'm bringing her anyway. Well, that's your wife.
Yeah, a lot of times those folks that do that though, they like you said, they forget about the spouse. They like, oh yeah, mom, dad's moving in, and then they tell the spouse that mom, dad's moving in. They don't have the conversation, and it messes up that relationship, and now we fighting every night because your mama's here. Yeah, that type of thing.
And I know I'm not I sometimes I think selfishly. I protect my circle. I protect my household and our peace of mind. But I think that's how we've gotten to be where we're at. I tell Z all the time, we'll never argue about anything that happens outside of this household, like because they don't matter that much. And that's, and not in a mean way, but it's like they don't affect our household. It's like them being sick. Yes, it brings me down and stuff like, and I want to help, but it's like it's not going to affect our bills. It's not going to affect the time and energy we give to the kids and all this stuff. So we got to make sure that our kids don't suffer for something else. So I'm done.
It's on you now, bro.
Okay. I think we've kind of hit on this before, but I saw a post earlier today that made me rethink about it. So, we talk about the U.S. a lot and some of the challenges with racism and all that stuff. But for the most part, it is our home. But if you could pack your family up today and move to another country to live, where would that be and why?
Razi, you already have an answer because you plan on leaving the country one day.
Yeah, like retirement wise. Yeah. But I think it's a little different because retiring is very different because I don't have to worry about educational opportunities. I don't have to worry about, the kids growing up in that country. I don't, so there's a little bit of difference because yes, I definitely want to retire to Greece or Italy and be on, the Mediterranean and have a villa overlooking the Mediterranean. That's my retirement, plan. But for if I could just pack up right now and move somewhere, it's different because I got to worry about where I'm going to work, if I can work there, what I'm going to do there, that type of thing. And truthfully, it's I don't know if I would leave the United States. I could always say, yes, I moved somewhere in Africa. I'd go to Nigeria and, live generally like I live now. I could find a job there and it would be more so, my kids would see more people like them and everything like that. But it's a different culture there. And I think it'll be a culture shock for my kids there. They are comfortable with the culture here in the United States and what we do and what we don't do, how we eat, the food we eat and everything. Like, to just uproot them and push them or move to a different country, it's going to be a huge culture shock, a huge shift. And I don't know if the trade-off's worth it for me. So I don't think I would truthfully move to another country. But if we had to, just in this hypothetical.
You don't got to go home, but you got to get your black ass out of here. So.
Okay, yeah. Where we just got to pick a country. I probably would move to like a Nigeria. I know a lot of Nigerians. I know the culture that's there well enough, and that it's booming enough, it's growing fast enough that I think I could get there and be comfortable and really get incorporated into the culture quickly. So yeah, I'm gonna go Nigeria.
I'm probably the worst person to ask because I haven't traveled worldly enough like that to give an educated answer on this. So just based off what I've heard, maybe Switzerland, but that's not based on anything. I know I want to visit Liberia. I know that's where a lot of slaves that fled this country wound up in, and so I just like to see that. I want to visit south of France. I've been to Mexico and the Bahamas, and I know Toronto is pretty much like a North American city for the most part. But if I just had to pick one, I guess Switzerland. But like I said, that's not based on anything. I'm definitely the wrong person to ask this question. So I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, a second, I guess, country that I'd look for as a consolation if it wasn't Nigeria, it'd be probably Tokyo. I'd go to Japan and just hang out in Japan.
I could see you nerding out in Japan.
Yeah.
You would be an ultimate gamer. You would probably dye your hair.
Shoe culture. Yeah, man. Like, you know.
Enjoy that. Yeah.
Yeah, you were like Jalen Smith. Yeah, not Jalen Smith. It's Jalen Smith.
Yeah, Jalen when he went for what was it? Karate Kid?
Yeah, I see that wholeheartedly. Anime heaven. You know, Ollie would thrive there. Yeah.
Yeah, come to think of it, that might be my first choice, actually. It might end up being my first.
But it'd be very interesting, you know, because a lot of times we see the tourist side of it, but the racism, you know, parts of it. I'm kind of like you. I always thought about Nigeria or or Liberia, one of the African countries initially. But I feel like so many times people are always, and maybe this is the arrogant American in me. I feel like people there are trying to get here. Does that make sense? It's like you left the U.S. to come to Nigeria. We're trying to get over there right now. But I do, and I love the culture. I love, you know, the familial system and stuff like that. But it's would we be accepted on that in there? You know, would you be considered still an outsider? You know, unless, you know, your kids married Nigerian and 2 generations from now, you know, they're fully enthroned.
Yeah, that's what I mean by that culture shift. Like that, being an expat is different.
Yeah.
You're not just going to walk in that country and be like, boom, I'm here. Like it's going to be,
So I was cheating. According to Travel Noir, the best countries for Black families to relocate and why. Top answers are the United Kingdom, Canada, Panama, Costa Rica. Yeah. And so sad to say, I think my top 2 choices based off of that. Because when I think about relocating, bringing the kids in, being able to easily adapt to the culture, it will be between the UK and Canada. And maybe even put Canada on top because it's close to the US and I still have access to get to things where that I need to. So almost like a US light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Move to a city like Toronto and stuff like that. But I feel like people still the arrogant American in me still idolize the American dream and the cities, and they're still gonna want to go to Miami. It's like
I'll tell you, it's not as prevalent as you think when people like, oh my God, I want to go to America. Like, you remember we were in France and they were talking about that. They're like, yeah, no, I mean, the normal French guy doesn't want to go to America. Like, that's not where they're trying to move to. When I was in Spain, it was the same thing. They were like, yeah, we'd like to go to visit. We'd like to go for like a 2-3 year kind of stint maybe, but we want to come back and we want to be here in Spain. Like, they like their country the same way we like America.
Yeah, I think for some, like, even the couple we were talking to, was for trying to get ahead, like getting loans for houses, and just the system that we're used to is not the system, to buy a house in some of these countries. It's all or nothing. You got to add the cash.
Mm-hmm.
It's the bank loaning you money to, you're putting 20% down, or these first time homeowner programs. It's show me the bag. But I think Canada probably would be the easiest to adapt to, followed by the United Kingdom, UK. I hate to say it because as pro-Black as I try to be, my mindset is like, yeah, you need to get to Nigeria, Liberia, someplace, Ghana,
Senegal, yeah,
something. And it's like, I would love to be there, and I would love to think I would fit in there, but I still think I would feel out of place, which is sad to be, to say as a Black person in America. Is like, you would still be I'm assuming out of place in a place where everybody looks like you. Because it's like, do we share more with I feel like we share more culturally with European countries that look nothing like us.
Yeah. And American culture is inherently American. Like, there's something about American culture. And so I think the question is, are you more American or are you more African when you say African American? And truthfully, when it comes to other than skin color, we are more American.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It is. And so in Canada has more of that American culture. The UK has more of the American culture. Even though I wouldn't look like, the majority of the people there. I don't know, man. It just made me think, because a lot of times, we hear during the election and all that stuff, like, man, we just need to get up and leave,
Yeah. Question is, go where, right?
Yeah, go where.
Always go where? Go where? Where are you going?
Right.
So
the sad thing is there's not a place, we don't necessarily have a home outside of America.
Mm-hmm.
So what else fellas got for us? Anything else?
We up to parting shots?
Yeah, I think so.
Just want to remind everybody, even though it's towards the end of the month now, it is Mental Health Awareness Month. So just please keep that in mind. Be empathetic to those that may be dealing with serious mental health issues. And it's just great to see the progress we've made as far as the stigma towards people with mental health, but we still have a long ways to go. I think on a macro level, we are accepting of it, but when it hits close to home on a micro level, I think there's still a lot of stigma and still a lot of, negative feelings towards it. So it's easier to say, we support therapy. We want people to go to therapy. But like, if it's close to you, if it's someone close to you personally, then I think there still is that recoil effect. Like, man, you crazy? What the hell wrong with you? Why can't you just shake it off? Why can't you just get over it? You know what I mean? So let's be mindful of it on a broad level and on a personal level, and just support each other, because this thing called life, it will beat your down. And, it's a wonder that not every single person on this planet doesn't have some type of mental health issue, because life is tough. So just be aware of that during this month and every month going forward.
Well, I'm going to jump in right there, Byron. It's so crazy because I've talked to multiple people in the last week about seeking therapy, and mental health in our community is so strange. If you truly need the help, like, people have accepted that more of, like, they'll still won't go seek it. They just accept it as part of their lifestyle. Depression, anxiety, anything like that. Well, you know how Byron is. And so, in I guess the more intense your mental health issue is, I think people try to avoid it more and more, because for the fact to, if you never get diagnosed, you can never acknowledge it, But then at the same time, people that have everyday, just life to life, day to day issues, we're still under the impression that we can figure that out too. And I think everybody can benefit from mental health. I mean, those are discussions I've been having lately. It's just like the conversations I had with my therapist have opened up doors of realization for myself, and it made me take a deeper look at some of the things that I'm challenged with, that I've been avoiding throughout life. And so it's like there's hard to find that sweet spot where people feel comfortable going to therapy. It's, I'm good, so I don't need it. Or I'm so bad off that they can't help me, or I just don't want to acknowledge it, because when I acknowledge it, I have to face the realization that something's quote unquote wrong with me. So you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. And it's very strange. So people, please go find your therapist. Most companies let you go talk to a therapist for free for a couple of sessions. Go test it out and see what you get out of it. Razi, what you got?
Kind of on those same lines, man. I see a bunch of people questioning how people self-care. They talk about, you going on trips, but you ain't buying, you're not financially healthy. You buying Bitcoin, but you're not, enjoying life and this and other. Just folks, get out of other people like pockets and life, and stop worrying about what other people are doing. If somebody's poor and they need to take a trip to make themselves feel better or have fun, then let them do that. Like, that is a part of self-care as well. So it doesn't necessarily have to be that, I'm mentally unfit and I need to go see a therapist. It may be that I'm overworked and I need a vacation. That may be the thing that gets them back on track and let them go back. Like, work-life balance is so important, and work-life balance is a huge thing. And so I definitely, think we need to be able to say, do what's best for you. Do what you need to do. And the people that are closest to them, the people that really know what's going on with them, may be able to say, hey, you're spending too much, or, hey, your hot girl summer is turning into, you're not going to be able to pay your bills. Like, let somebody that really knows their pockets talk to them about that. Don't just make general comments about people and everything and let them live their life. So that's all I got, man.
Well, they put it on social media, Razi. That means they want people to comment.
Well said, bro. Razi, at least. You too, Ferg. You too, but yeah.
That's why I try not to post too much on social media. I feel like once you put it on there, you can't necessarily be too upset when people start commenting or sharing their opinion. Because you still,
I definitely
and
think
I think what Razi is saying, they're not even necessarily commenting on those people's posts. They will just come out and make a general post of, pretty much saying you're not prioritizing your money. You taking these trips, but you should be investing in this. And how you know that person they don't already own some land or they don't already have stocks and stuff like that. Like he's just saying let people be.
Yeah, that $1,000 that they spent on that trip is not going to get them no land. Let's be honest here. Like it's not. So let them be. Oh, Ferg, before you go, I just want to shout out the Army real quick. Changing the wearing appearance of the uniform one more time. They're actually letting females wear their braids out now, even in their normal uniform. So guys or anybody, if you see people doing that, stop. You don't have to try to call them out. The regulation has changed. Women can wear their ponytails in the Army down to, I think, the middle of their back. So it's a really cool, good change for them. I'm excited about that. And they announced that there's a unit inside the Army right now that any reputable sexual assault or sexual harassment claim and any time that you are tried and convicted of sexual assault, even outside of the military, you'll automatically be recommended for separation and go through a separation board. That's huge for folks that actually need or are experiencing that. It's how we change the culture of sexual harassment and sexual assault in the military. So good job for both of those.
Progress. Once again, going back to people would always say, well, this is the way it's always been. You have to look at the world you live in today and make adjustments. So on a brighter note, did you guys get to watch the NBA Hall of Fame induction ceremony last night?
Nah, I just YouTubed Vanessa Bryant's speech.
Yeah, I did too. Very, very, very well spoken. I mean, heartfelt. So I want to just say Vanessa Bryant did a great job. It was touching. She was very strong, and I'm proud of her and all that she's done and been through in the last year, almost a year and a half. So hats off to you. Well deserved the recognition you got for your speech. And to the class of 2020 induction ceremony, the people that stand out were Kobe Bryant got inducted last year, but because it was postponed. So Kobe Bryant, Tim Duncan, and Kevin Garnett, which is a dope ass class. And then the class this year featured Pierce, Bosch, Weber, and Ben Wallace. There's a lot of debate on Ben Wallace getting in, but congrats to the inductees. If you get a chance, go listen to all their speeches, but especially Vanessa Bryant. So,
and I'm sure Truth Be Told Sports podcast will be talking about it. So make sure you check them out next week.
Yeah. And one more time for the Crafting Angel for our gifts. I don't know if we got to post it last week, but really did appreciate the water bottle. It was a staple in Miami for me. Kept me hydrated. And I think that's all we got, fellas. Anything we're missing?
We covered it. We got it.
All righty. Well, enjoy the rest of your week. Hopefully everything's productive. 3 Brothers No Sense. Listen, like, share, subscribe, comment, and most importantly, listen again. Talk to you next week.